Don't adjust your video settings. This is what I really look like. Thanks for clicking on my airbrushing part 2 video. I have to tell you a little history here. I almost scrapped this entire project. I made a classic YouTube content creator newbie mistake. I tried to convert some of my video footage and it just did not work at all. Fortunately, I was able to down convert it again and salvaged it. But anyway, in this video, we're going to do a little airbrushing, and you're going to see that I made a couple of mistakes in this video. One was I didn't clean enough of the red paint out of the airbrush. The second thing that I did was I mixed the black paint too thick, and that combined with the leftover red paint created a complete gum up of the needle in the airbrush. So I had to take it apart, clean it out, and then put the black paint back in and shot from there. So I decided to leave this in because I think it's a good learning experience. If anybody's just starting out, this is something that you could run into, and this video will show that, you know, aside from a little bit more time, it's completely recoverable. So here we go, warts and all, airbrushing part 2. Alrighty, I've adjourned to the paint booth, which is to say the garage, and you can't see it off camera, but I don't have anything fancy out here. I don't have a paint booth with a suction fan or anything like that. Most of the time when I'm using the airbrush, I don't even use a mask or anything like that. Generally speaking, I use the airbrush with the garage door open, and that's about it. If you have masks, if you have a paint booth with the suction fan, by all means use them. It's better safe than sorry, right? But for the little bit of painting that I do, I don't worry about that too much. So anyway, I'm working on a little project here. This is going to be a Christmas themed train station. And I just got done painting the windows with a clear red, and I'm doing that so that when I put an LED inside this building on the layout, that I won't be seeing a bright LED right through the clear plastic window. So I am also going to paint the insides of the walls with black so that I don't see the light shining right through the white walls either. So I thought I would take this opportunity to show you that the airbrush, and when I'm doing multiple colors in a day, I don't bother cleaning the airbrush real well. What I usually do is I take some of this, Aztec acrylic thinner. I get this at Hobby Lobby. I think it's a few dollars. And it works really well. I thin the paint with it. I do a little bit of cleaning in the airbrush with it. Let's see how we do here. I stick it in my cleaning jar. And after I scoop some of that red paint out of the cup, I just kind of swabbed it out. And then I'll put it here in the cleaning jar and spray this thinner through it, and that'll get a large part of the paint off the needle in the airbrush. And that's about it right there. So next thing is I will mix up some black paint. Okay, so I've put some black paint in my little mixing cup, and I'm going to take this thinner, jet some in there. I don't really measure very carefully. I just put it in until it looks right. I've heard some people say, well, your paint should be the consistency of milk. And generally speaking, I agree with that. I think what I'm mixing up here, though, looks more like 1% lactose free, but hey, it'll work. A little more thinner. I usually mix it up until it'll drip off the mixing stick by itself. If it's a little too thin, that's okay. Do a couple of coats. No big deal. All right, close enough. So we'll take that and put some of that into the airbrush. Where's my lid? There it is. All right. Crank her up here. Let's see what my paper towel here. Air first, then some paint. Looks like it'll work. So let's see how we do here. Yeah, and you can see it's a little bit thin, but it's working. One of the reasons, by the way, that I may have mentioned this already, but I use low pressure on the airbrush because I don't want massive overspray, and it comes out a little bit nicer. It doesn't glob up, it just comes out real smooth. Looks like I'm running low. Oh, we're okay. I think I might be drying the paint on the needle a little bit. Not getting a very good coating on this one. And that's another danger. If you don't have the paint thinned down enough, it's going to just stick to the needle in the airbrush and you're not going to get anything out of there. So, all right, let's fix that. Okay, I'm back. So it turns out that I did not thin out the black paint enough. So it dried right around the needle before I got done spraying. So here we go again. Let's try it again. There we go, that's better. I'm a little high on my pressure here. All right, there we go. That's much better. Yeah, if the paint's too thick, it does have a tendency to dry on the needle. I'm sure everybody knows that, but I'll tell you anyway. So there we go. I think that's more than enough to keep the light from bleeding through. So originally I was going to tape these edges where the walls will glue on, but then I decided, you know, I'll probably end up not getting enough black around those edges, so then the light will bleed through the corners on the building. So I decided, well, I'll just scrape off the parts, the black paint where I need to glue it together, and that should do it. All right, that does it for airbrushing part 2. And in airbrushing part 3, I'm going to take the airbrush completely apart and show you how I clean it out totally and hopefully get it back together again in working order. So I thank you for watching this. I hope that it was informative for someone, and please give me a thumbs up, subscribe, and I will see you at the next stop. Airbrushing part 3.